Good morning. It's April 30th, a Tuesday. Project for the day. I want a hard line for power direct to the inverter for the compressor and the welder. The 2000 watt inverter will run everything else, chop saw, sander, lights, blah blah blah, all the other stuff. It runs just fine. It will run the compressor and it will run the welder, but it doesn't really like it, and it eats up the batteries pretty fast. So I'm going to run this stuff off the main system in the house, using this yellow cord here. So I got a hole in the bottom corner of the shed. What's currently feeding it is this red extension cord, which comes down, and then I can switch back and forth. I'm kind of gonna do the same thing. I don't know, we'll see what I got for leftover cord. Maybe I'll run it and drop it down and do a similar thing, and then have the T there so they can both be plugged in. So if it's going straight to the inverter, then it's got plenty of juice. But the problem here is, so this outlet up here, this is taking power from the house. I have the option out here to either run off the inverter if the batteries are good enough. I've still been trying to do something with these batteries. They're basically just junk. At least one of them is complete junk. I need to pull this whole thing apart and do load tests individually. Totally different sidetrack. But so I can choose the power, use the power from out here or from the house. And this power comes from this real thin green cord. I believe this is like 18 or 20 gauge, real thin stuff. And it's a long cord that plugs into the outside outlet on that back room. And of course, you know, that weaves through the whole house, the panel system and everything else. It ends up being a really long length of wire before I get power over here. You know, I can fire this compressor up and run it just fine, but it's running kind of slow. You can hear that it's lagging. And the welder, I have to turn all the way down, and it just barely, you know, peters out a snot of a bead. So I want a hard line going straight to the inverter, and the existing thing works. You know, the red cord comes out to here, and then I stretch that, and that meets up with that yellow cord coming out here. And then that goes straight to and just plugs into the plug on the inverter. Well, the inverter has a hardwire option, and I want everything to be monitored. You know, everything that I use from the inverter, like in the last video, I can monitor before and after the inverter. I want this, if I'm gonna have a steady hard line coming to the shed, I want this to also pass through that sensor, so that goes into the calculation, the efficiency calculation and the totals, because I keep track of that, and it's important to me that it be monitored use. So what's going to happen here is, instead of using the red one, because that's a little bit shorter, I'm going to use this yellow guy. These are both 75 footers. Cut the end off inside and run that to the hard wire. I'll show you that inside. And then I'm thinking I'm going to cut these two ends off, put couplers on them, shrink wrap it, weather tight it all. And this, I'll cut a trench for this, so this can just be in here permanently. So I always have good power, straight power, from the, you know, straight from the inverter for my compressor and welder, because that's honestly, of everything in that shop, that's what gets used the most, is the compressor and welder. So it's important that I have good power out there to do it. And then yeah, the small system can run everything else. So um so yeah, this is all relatively boring stuff, snipping wires and stuff. I'll quick show you how that goes together in the basement here, and then I'll just get to it, and we'll come back when it's all done and working. But just to show you, the lights off down here. So that wire comes in here, and I already got the end cut off. So I got to pull a little bit of length through there, run that up and over, and so this sensor right here is what tells me everything that's coming out of the inverter. This wire jumps out, comes over to this box, and then there's a main cutoff and a breaker inside of there, and that's what sends power to the mains and distributes it through the house. So I think I'm gonna have this yellow guy run in to the box and hook up to that same out lead, so everything that's used in the shed will run through here and then be monitored. And then I got a nice, the shortest possible connection to get out to the shed. That gives me a direct line. This is heavy gauge. This is all 12 gauge, I believe, this yellow cord. So that gives me a full power connection to the shed, which will run that little compressor and that little welder absolutely no problem. And it'll all be switchable and monitored. So, okay, well, I'm going to get to work. Alrighty. Well, I got this guy in here. I pulled everything else out. I did have to undo the connector to get it through the wall, but that goes up and over, comes down, comes out there, and then comes out there, and goes straight in. Looks like I'm gonna have just enough excess to pull it in and make the connection inside. So I guess let's go in there and see what that looks like. All right, so here's my yellow guy. I pulled out the slack, well, most of it. I'll pin that up a little bit better. And that's gonna come over here. I got my box opened up. That's where power comes in and then goes out and to the house panel. So I'm gonna run this guy up in and get that tied in to this side of the breaker, and then that'll all be on a protected circuit before it gets to the inverter. Just one more safety. So, and then it'll all be metered as well, so any use out there I'll be able to go kick on a compressor, and I can see my efficiency with the compressor running. That's kind of what I really want to see, is some of them bigger loads. Well, I need both of my hands for all this, and I think I'm gonna shut down power because that's the smart, safe thing to do. So I should probably do that. So I'll be working under headlamp, and then I don't got to worry about getting zapped. And I'll get this changed over. I can power back up and go see how much snot the welder and the compressor. I guarantee they're going to sound way better being on a hard line. So, all right, we'll check back in a minute. All right, well, currently powered down. Let's fire up the inverter. So with that on disconnect, there's nothing coming out of the inverter. So the sitting idle wattage on this inverter is 25 watts. It's using 25 watts just being on. That's a good thing to know. And boom, powers up the house. Let's see if I can make that glare go away. There we go. So everything kicking on all at once. So the fridge and freezer probably kicked on. They're settling back down. Bunch of stuff just kicked back on. Wi-Fi router. So on and so on. So yeah, we're all wired in. And I tidied it up. And then it goes out the window and straight to the shed. So let's go fire up that compressor and see how much happier it sounds. Alright, here we are outside. We're running the window straight in. These are both factory ends, so I'm starting to think that I kind of want to keep this usable here. So at the, for cutting the lawn and stuff, all I'm gonna have to do is break it in half, hang half of it over here and half of it on my screw over there. Then if I'm welding out here, or I need power out here, which is common in the summer, I can tap right into that, park the truck right here, whatever I'm working on, and just weld right here, so I don't have to be up against the side of the shed. But anyways, so that's staying like that. And I'll just have to roll it up when I'm cutting the grass, big deal. So this all should technically be powered up. I got power to the welder. Oh yeah. Okay. Well, let's see how this thing runs. Oh yeah. Yep, full power. Cool. She was lagging real hard on that long skinny cord. It didn't like it. Yep, that's full power. No problem. Cool. Alrighty then. Guess we're back in business. Now I can pump up tires without worrying about blowing my damn compressor. I'm gonna clean up this shop a little bit. This is kind of a damn mess. Maybe fix this dirt bike one of these days, but make this usable space again, since winter is good and over and I got all kinds of stuff to fix. So alright, I'm gonna get to further chores, but on the power system side of things, project is done for the day. So thanks for watching. God bless you.